Namaste, everybody. Welcome to our special event, our very first ever live podcast. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We really wanted to do this in person, but maybe next time. No, hopefully there will never be a next time. This will be our final rebrand. But we wanted to start with a practice tonight because it's really an important part of what we're kind of cultivating. And it's very important um, to have a deeper understanding of our rebranding process. This meditation is kind of the culmination of that. So we're going to do a meditation practice. So just make sure that you have somewhere comfortable to sit. On the floor is good, or in a chair is fine. If you need a little bit of back support, just make sure that you're in a comfortable seat. Spine will be long, and you'll be nice and grounded. So the hips nice and steady on the earth. Allow your heart to open. And just to settle in, let's take 5 really deep breaths together. As you deeply inhale through your nose, sigh out through your mouth. Deep inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. Do that 3 more times. And just allow your breath to be effortless. Breathing in and out through your nose. We'll start with a few rounds of Nadi Shortener. So you'll place the index finger and the middle finger of the right hand to the space between the eyebrows. And when you close the right nostril with the thumb, inhale through the left nostril. Close the left nostril with the ring finger, exhale right. Inhale right nostril. Exhale left nostril. Inhale left nostril. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. And a deep breath in through both nostrils. And out through both. Once again, allowing your breath to become effortless. Breathe into your belly. Allow your breath to be smooth, calm, and full. allow your awareness to begin to gather at the center of the forehead. Invite your mind to rest at the center of the forehead. And with each breath, you'll experience a subtle pulsation of a soft blue light. Inhale, the blue light gently expands. Exhale, this blue light gently contracts. Along with this blue light, the mantra Om Som. Om with the inhale, Som with the exhale. Som is your innate capacity for healing. The well of healing and nourishment that exists within each of us. We'll start to guide the movement of this blue light and now mantra Om Som throughout the body with our breath. So take one final breath, experiencing this pulsation at the center of the forehead. And then take one breath at the center of the eyebrows. Om Som. One breath at the eyes. One breath at the nostrils. And a breath at the throat center. One breath at the shoulders. At the upper arms. Om Som. Elbows. The wrists. One breath at the palms. And two breaths at the fingertips. Breath at the palms. At the wrists. Om Som. Elbows. Upper arms, one breath. Shoulders. Throat center. heart center, base of the sternum, navel center, just behind the belly button. Om Som. Center of the pelvis. One breath. And 2 breaths at the pelvic floor. One breath at the center of the pelvis. One breath at the navel center. Base of the sternum. Heart center. Throat center. One breath at the nostrils. The eyes. Center of the eyebrows. And 3 breaths at the center of the forehead. Continuing with the mantra Om Som. With your next inhale, awareness moves to the crown of the head. With the exhale, from the crown of the head to the base of the spine. Inhale from base of spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the base. Just allow your awareness to flow between these 2 points for a moment. With your next inhalation, allow your awareness to extend not to the crown of the head, but the point right at the back of the skull. This point is called the Bindu Visarga. Bindu Visarga is said to be the point that the nectar of Som drips down into our awareness. It's also the point where we receive divine intelligence or divine guidance. So sense this cool blue light descending from this point at the back of the skull, slowly filling your entire body with SOM. The nectar of healing, nourishment, nurturance. As your body is filled with this cool blue light, sense yourself being replenished from the inside out. For a moment, allow yourself to be completely immersed in this SOM. Please bring your hands to heart center. Join us in chanting the mantra Om Som, just as you would chant a regular Om. In this way, we, as a community, as a group in this meditation, send out this healing Shakti to all who need it. Deep inhale for Om. Inhale for Som. And just bow your head to your heart. And slowly you can come back to your external awareness. Move back out through the senses. Start to make a little bit of movement as we reconnect to each other externally. So that practice has a unique significance to the topic of our conversation today.
Are you going to get right into it, or are you going to wave around?
Yeah, I was just going to say next, but before we get into that, we thought that we would give you guys a little bit of a background as to how we got here in our business and in our life, and in this place that we're sitting in. That's so exciting to be sitting in. And so about, how long has it been since we did our teacher trainings?
2017.
How many years is that?
4.
So about 4 years ago. No, 5.
4.
4 years ago. No, that can't be right.
No, it was definitely 2017.
Oh, okay then.
But you did it in May, so maybe 4.5 years for you.
Well, about 4 years ago, Paige and I, unbeknownst to each other, set off to do our first yoga teacher training. Not together and not with the same people, but around the same time, Paige and I were both began our study in yoga, and both of us had been practicing for about a year. I did mine locally, and Paige was lucky enough to travel to India for hers.
Yep.
Much cooler than my experience.
Much cooler than Beric. No.
And at that time, personally, I was spending a lot of time practicing in very modern yoga studios, like in the, call it the modern yoga scene. And I really began to notice quite quickly that there was something that was lacking in modern yoga and in that kind of environment and in the practices that were being shared. There was a couple of things that I noticed were lacking. And the more I dived into practicing, the more I dove into studying, the more I began to realize that what was being shared as yoga was really just exercise. And not only that, but there was a certain level of exclusivity to the practice. Meaning that, if you wanted to practice yoga in this specific, modern environment, you had to be, semi-fit. You had to be, your body had to be a certain way. You had to be able to fit into certain shapes. You had to kind of talk a certain way and dress a certain way. And not only that, but there wasn't many males around. And so that was, at many times kind of uncomfortable for me, being the only male in a very large room of women. And so very quickly after I did my first training, I decided that it was my duty to open a yoga space, a studio that was inclusive. And that was really focused around building community, local community, and a space where the practices that were offered were accessible for most people, and that we would try to accommodate as many people as we could. And very soon after that, I started directing my study towards more traditional practices. Specifically, I started studying Tantric Hatha Yoga. And what I realized was that all of the yoga that I'd learned, all of the yoga that I'd practiced, had been stripped of the very essence of yoga. It had been stripped of the tradition. And something lit up inside me, and I just felt that the most righteous thing I could do at that time was to dedicate myself to sharing traditional yoga, and to I don't know, start to lead people toward a bit of a renaissance, you could say. And so I found a space. I was very lucky. My friend Lockie owned a gym, and I approached him because I was kind of teaching in gyms at the time. And I said to him, "Hey, do you think I could teach some yoga in the gym?" And he was like, "Wow, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that. I've got a room for you. It's perfect for yoga." And he showed me the room, and I agreed. It was perfect for yoga. And he even got me my first 20 clients. They were all his gym members. And we did a trial week. We did, I think, 4 classes, two on a Tuesday, 2 on a Thursday. And all of the classes were packed. We had like 15, 20 people in these classes. And this went on for about, I don't know, I want to say almost a year. from kind of when I first started teaching to when I properly opened it up as a studio. I was kind of teaching on and off there, going away on holidays, coming back. And I made the decision at some point to open up a studio, and I called it Level Up. And the reason that I called it Level Up was because I was sitting there for days, weeks, and I just couldn't think of a name. I was just completely blank as to what to call this yoga studio. I had no idea. And so there was a random string of events, and without going too far into it, some people had that were, I don't know, going through, transformation, starting to practice meditation and that kind of stuff. They would tell me in regard to their significant other, they'd leveled up from them. And this just kept happening. I just kept hearing people say, "Oh, I've just leveled up from them. I've just leveled up from him." And for some reason, it stuck in my head, and I was like, "Fine, I'll just call it this." It was between two names, Level Up, and the other one was going to be Inner Space. Inner Space may be more fitting.
I like
in
Inner
hindsight.
Space.
But I put a poll on Instagram, and I said, I'll just let Instagram decide. And it was like 49-51%, and the 51% vote was Level Up. So that was what we went with. And then I was working with a graphic designer, and we were kind of coming up with this logo. It was going to be two heads with a box around them, and one of the heads was coming out of the box. We were like, okay, someone's thinking outside the box. And I was like, no, I want it to be inclusive. And he'd put like male heads, and I was like, it can't be male heads. And so he drew like a male face and a female face, and I was like, no, it looks a bit messy. And so we put it up on the wall, and one of my friends came to visit and look at the studio and stuff. And he looked at it, and he was like, we kind of presented it to him. We've got this problem. It's messy. We can't have a male or a female. We want to be inclusive. And he was like, well, everyone's got a skull. Why don't we just put skulls on it? And so that was what we did. And I was into skulls and skateboarding and, shred till you're dead at the time. And so I thought it was cool. We'll just put some skulls on it. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And so that became our branding.
Maybe just a quick side note there. Recently, we tried to get some signage put up when we were doing outdoor yoga classes, summer just gone.
Park, yeah.
And we got told that we couldn't put our signs up because our logos weren't child friendly.
They were going to scare the kids. They said, wow, you guys must be some kind of yoga pirates. Someone called me that once. They were like, you're a yoga pirate. You know that?
And I just never thought about it like that.
Yeah. And it's always just been a thing. People are just like, what's with the logo? Anyway, so that's the story. Now you know. So onward from that, we set up the logo, we set up the studio, and I just kind of went to work. What does it say?
Yoga pirates are amazing.
Yeah, we love yoga pirates. So, the thing is that I went about and created this space in the studio in this community. But the branding that we came off was kind of just random. It wasn't very intentional. And as we grew, as I grew, as the community grew, as I met Paige, who, Paige came through the studio. She came to our first birthday party. Mm-hmm. Was the first time we met. And very quickly, I realized that we were beginning to outgrow the branding. We were beginning to outgrow the name.
Much to your denial, I think.
I really tried to hang on to it for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually it became clear that it no longer reflected what we were offering. Paige and I try to offer very authentic yoga that holds the tradition in the highest regard. Mm. And the branding just didn't reflect that anymore. So yeah, when I met Paige, I was very intrigued by her because there was no one else that I had met in the state, this whole state, that had studied in this tradition, this specific tradition that I've started studying under. And when she came into the studio, I was like, wow, that's so interesting. Like there's a girl that lives close to me, within an hour, who studies under this tradition. That's incredible. Why don't you take over from here?
And share.
I don't know. Whatever you want to share. How did you get to that point?
Just briefly, I guess. I, like Aaron said, I'd been practicing yoga for about a year at a city studio, my auntie's studio, which I loved. And when I decided I wanted to do a yoga teacher training, I pretty much got pushed into the one I did. My auntie was like, if you're going to do one, you have to do this one. And it was the first training of Izzy and Josh, who are my teachers. And so, it was their first one. And I did half of it in Footscray and then half of it in Rishikesh in India. And then I guess from there, I spent about a year. When did I meet you? Maybe 2 years? A year-ish. Not teaching, just embodying, and slowly starting to transition my life into one that I felt was aligned with yoga. And when Aaron and I met, I mean, if you've listened to the story, there is a podcast on it. But
it's one of our first episodes.
No, in context, basically I had been following Aaron on Instagram and he put up this story and it was like, is anyone from Melbourne going to this festival in Jarvis Bay? And
before that, it was, is anyone driving from South Yarra to Berwick?
No, I don't think that was before it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't think so. Anyway, so he put on his story, was anyone going to this festival? And I just so happened to be going to this festival because I was volunteering with my teachers. And so we pretty much went to this festival together. I had messaged him and he had no idea who I was at the time, I don't think. And I said, yeah, I'm going. And he was like, oh, great, let's book some flights together. And so
it's a classic Aaron move.
Here's my money. Please do my life admin.
Can you book the flights?
I booked the flights. I had no idea. And we went to this festival together and it's just so funny. We were just reflecting on it before that, we did really meet and get to know each other because of this tradition and because of my teachers and the opportunities that we both got.
Yeah, it was just so perfectly aligned because at this point in both of our lives, we thought that we were kind of alone on this journey. We thought that we were, studying this thing that was so far out, so, far from the main, like yoga is not mainstream and Tantra Hatha yoga is not mainstream yoga. So for there to be someone, studying this within an hour from your house, it was incredible. It seemed very strange at the time.
Anyway.
So onward from that, our relationship developed and about 18 months ago now, Paige started working with me full time.
Yeah.
And from day one, Paige was just like, this branding sucks. This name sucks. We have to change the name. And I was like, no, it's mine. I love it.
If you guys saw, I got him to change the logo at one point to the sun, which was on our YTT manuals, but it just didn't stick. So, yeah.
After, 2.5 years of pestering, Paige finally got her way. No, it was time. Someone's just entered the waiting room. After that amount of time, it was time for us to make a change. And, when the opportunity came up for us to rent out this new factory, we thought it was the perfect time for us to make a full change. You know, it's kind of a full restructure as far as our business is concerned. We've got more space, and we wanted to move into this space and have a clean slate, a fresh start completely.
Well, yes, but we decided to rebrand before we knew this space was here.
Yeah, true, actually.
We did the rebranding process in May this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We started it in May. And we were just going to rebrand the classic studio. And, we went into lockdown a week before we were going to have our rebranding party and announcement. And it was obviously because we had to have this space as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're here. And a couple of weeks ago, the signs went up.
Yeah.
So if anyone's been driving in Enterprise Avenue, you might have seen the signs.
We got here one day and Aaron sent me a photo and I said, "Are you kidding me? The sign writer just put up the sign."
Showed up on a Friday night, didn't tell us, put the sign up, and we were mortified.
And I tried to get up on a bin to put a sheet over the sign, cover it. But
it was just the universe sending a message that it's, this is the time. And so we took that message and we were like, okay, we'll just do it online.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a little bit around that branding process. I wanted to work with someone who understood what we were trying to offer when we were picking a designer, and there was no other person that I wanted to work with than Cam Watts, who was a guy from New Zealand, a friend of mine who I met on a teacher training some years ago, and he's just an incredible designer. If you look him up on Instagram, his name's Woo Woo NZ. And he does a lot of work with the Ramdas Foundation. And, everything that he does is with businesses like ours, conscious businesses in the, yoga space, within that community. And so to work with someone who understood what we share was very important to us. To work with someone who understood the tradition that we were sharing from was very important to us. And so, yeah, we sent him a brief and we had a FaceTime conversation with him.
At first he said, "I don't really do this kind of work anymore."
True. Yeah. He actually kind of knocked me back. He was like, "Oh, I don't really do graphic design work anymore. But if there was anything that I'd love to work on, it's this." So we kind of got lucky with that. But yeah, we had this initial meeting with him and we explained it to him and we, said the name, and he pretty much came back with the design and we were like, yeah, that's perfect. First one that he came back with.
Kind of. We had a few options.
We had a few ins and outs, a few, options, a few colorway options, and a little bit of back and forth. And eventually we came up with the logo, and it's been, how long has it been since we've had the logo and everything?
3 months at least,
before
4
we
months.
moved to the island. So yeah, we've been sitting on this for a long time, and we've just been excited to share it, but the time hasn't been right. But yeah, I guess now is the right time. So you guys will remember from the meditation that we did, there was a mantra that I had you use, which was Om Som. And what we wanted was to have our name as a mantra so that whenever someone spoke the name of our business, they were literally inciting the Shakti, the power of what we're trying to create. Yeah. So if you don't know anything about mantra, a mantra is not a word like, we say the word apple and it's something that makes you think of an apple. It's not something that points you towards the thing, but it is the thing itself. So when we say a mantra, we're literally invoking the power of that which we're expressing. And there was no mantra that represented the way we share yoga better than the mantra Om Som. Om being the entirety of the universe, the entirety of the cosmos, everything in its totality. and Som being the pool of healing that we all have deep within us. Yeah, our capacity to heal, our capacity to be nourished and nurtured, and to nourish and nurture others. So a rough translation for the mantra Om Som would be universal healing. That's what I've been saying anyway.
It's beautiful.
And yeah, that's it. So now you guys know the secret. Level up will become Om Som.
Yeah.
And do you want to show them the logo?
Yeah. Where did you save it?
It's just on the next screen. I put it on the next desktop, and it's full screen. And if you're listening on the podcast, you will have to go onto our Instagram. You can go to omsom.yoga.
Not yet.
Yeah, we'll do it in about I don't know, whenever we get off this Zoom call.
All right, ready?
Boom, there it is. So the logo, the like, what do you call it? An emblem, is literally the vision of your higher self. Right? Many yogis have spoken to this, and I had this weird experience where it just came to me, the brightest light, like golden ring. And it's literally the vision of the light of the self, the light of your soul. And we added the crescent moon under it, because that's indicative of the som, the nectar. It's always indicated as like the moon, the crescent moon dripping a nectar from the crescent moon. Yeah. So the Om and the Som exist within the logo. And yeah, that's it. We're stoked with it. And we hope that you guys are too. And yeah, we're very happy that all of you are joining us on this journey. There's such a wide community now, surrounding us, surrounding the studio, and even online. We've got such a huge community with the podcast and YouTube channel. There's people practicing with us all over the world. And yeah, we really wanted our name to reflect that. Yeah, so we're excited to see where this new journey takes us. The colors? What about the colors? Yeah. Yeah. So with the colors, Paige wanted gold, because that's her whole vibe, abundance. And I wanted blue because I've always liked blue. And also blue, like it's not this blue. This is like a dark blue, but the lighter blue is the Som. And the golden light is Om. So really, like, the colors reflect the mantra as well. Yeah. Well, yeah, when we emailed Cam, he was like, yeah, we asked for gold. No, Paige, I said to him, Paige wants gold and I want blue. And he just emailed back and he was like, oh, gold and blue are perfect. They perfectly contrast each other. And so we had a few different options and we settled on the one that you guys are seeing on the screen. Yeah. And we were just looking yesterday at getting some gold stamped business cards. Real bougie-like. Cool. Well, is there anything else you want to share, Paige? Or say? No? Okay, then. Well, I guess this is the end of our podcast. You can find our new website. We'll be changing it over in the next couple of days. It'll be omsom.yoga. And yeah, we'll be changing our handle everywhere, like Instagram, Facebook, Google, whatever. Everything's going to be changing to Om Som. So we'll see you over there. And Hari Om.